Hello again, and welcome to Bees on Main in beautiful downtown Stoughton. I'm Rich Morris, and here at the BroodMinder Global Production Facility. Today we're going to tour Theo Hartman's apiaries. He's got an extensive setup, and we thought it would be instructional to show in a complicated setup how all this data can get routed up to my BroodMinder. We are at Theo's farm outside of Richmond, Virginia. Theo, good morning.
Good morning, Rich, and good morning, everybody out there. It's a nice morning. We had some rain yesterday, but fortunately cleared up, and it's just after 8 o'clock or so on a Saturday morning. And you're looking at the main apiary. I'm walking towards these 4 hive stands with 18 hives on them, and I'm going to show you a few things. We are now approaching one of the sub-hubs here that's sitting right in front of the hives, and it pretty much picks up all the signals from all the devices in those hives. These hives are used for essentially 2 purposes. The one purpose is to have strong colonies to produce nooks, hopefully also get some honey out of them. And then, of course, the other purpose is to test all the BroodMinder equipment. All these hives are equipped with devices. Most of them have scales on them. And that's where we test out all of the equipment that we sell and test it for reliability. And we also see some very interesting things when we are looking at the data.
This one is set up on one of the license stands, which it looks like you like a lot, that you can get from Better Bee for about $100 for a pair of legs, and then you put your own 2x4s.
Right, and I like these hive stands very much because they have individual adjustable legs. They adjust to any terrain. So this is the hive stand with 4 integrated scales. Now I want to show you this hive here, which is kind of interesting. Because this is what we call the control hive, and what we have here is 2 scales, bar scales, front and back, and then we have a W2 on top of it, and below is the integrated hive scale on the hive stand, and then inside this hive, it's set up the same way. It's set up the same way as any of the other hives. With I use hive top insulation on all my hives to prevent condensation in the winter and to also prevent overheating in the summer. We have devices in here like we have on any other hive. There are 2 THs in here for as you can see, and then we have these frames which have bags of water in them.
There we go.
Where this water simulates essentially the thermal mass of the honey and the bees, and with this we can really see what's going on in a hive that doesn't have any bees and compare this to a hive with bees. And it's particularly interesting in the wintertime because sometimes there is very little temperature difference between inside and outside, and it's kind of interesting that this hive gets pretty warm too during the daytime and even without bees, and so this gives us an idea of what's going on. Both of these hives have the W2s installed, as you can see. Very strong hives. It's a little bit early, the bees are not flying yet. And then you walk further down the yard and you can see a couple of cathedral top bar hives, and then I have 2 more traditional top bar hives which are empty at the moment, and I'm raising nooks to go into those hives, or maybe I catch a swarm. Here is another hive that's tucked away.
You got hives everywhere, Theo.
Yeah, there is it's kind of, whenever we catch a swarm, I tend to set up a nook or a small hive right where I catch the swarm. And this one happened to land on this bush about 2 years ago. And the hive is still here. And then I have, if you just turn around, there's a sub hub here on the tree.
Okay.
Picks up the data, and then if I look here, there's the house. There is a swarm trap on a tree. I'm trying to zoom in on that one.
And
I'm not sure if I can.
there you go.
You see it there?
Yeah, we see there's the swarm trap.
A trap on a tree. It has a temperature device in it on top, and it also has a sub hub at the bottom. Down in the distance, you see the nooks. Yeah, it's 19 nooks right now. I have sold 2 of them. And there are some overflows, I think 2 or 3 up in the main yard. And I need to build another hive stand because splitting is not, I don't think it's complete.
So you're selling VSH nooks this year?
Yes.
And that's a lot of what your main yard is providing material for the nooks.
Yeah.
Is that?
Yes, exactly. So you have 2 hive stands with 10 spots each. I mean, I could possibly squeeze more into those, but it's essentially, they're close enough.
Mm-hmm.
You see, they all got feed on them, and they all have their own temperature device. There is the cell hub, the second one, and you see here the temperature devices on each of them.
Okay.
Some of the tabs don't stick out because, especially the Corophos nooks, the device is inside. Now, the one interesting thing here is the Queen Hotel, where I have, this is essentially 4 two-frame chambers. And I have an entrance on each side for each of the chambers, and each chamber has its own temperature sensor. And that's where I insert VSH green cells, use the 2 frames to let the queen emerge, and those bees will take care of the queen. The queen gets mated, and then I can hold a queen and requeen a nook that doesn't have a VSH queen. Balance the nooks based on the temperature difference between outside and inside at night.
Okay.
It's the indicator. And then on the production hives, I essentially use the temperature inside the box. If I have 2 temperatures, lower and upper box, in the brood zone, I know that hive is potentially ready to swarm, and I go in and pull a couple of frames for a split or to augment some of the nooks that are weak. So that's what I'm doing. An old cell phone running that picks up some of the devices, and then in the house I have a couple of them running that pick up some of the devices. And
so part of your setup is redundancy because you really don't want to lose your data.
Right.
And part of it is that you've got a lot of equipment after doing this for 5 years.
Right. The main apiary doesn't really have a cell hub. It's a sub hub there that picks up all the data. The Apiary app inside the house on the phone is picking up some of it, and the other portion is picked up by the cell hub in the backyard. And here is the other hive.
Okay.
And again, that one is a swarm 2 years ago that we picked up off that tree, and the hive was never moved. It's still here. And the sub hub, or the cellular hub, is right here, and it looks like it's in the shade, but it really gets enough sun. And to my amazement, this cell hub picks up pretty much everything from the apiary up front, which is across the yard on the other side. The original building with the 2 chimneys That was the old front door. And this house was built before 1760. This building here,
Yeah.
that had a generator in it, which was the first electricity generated in Chesterfield County around the turn of the century.
Once again, this property is at the forefront of technology.
Yeah, it was. So,
Theo, thank you so much. You must be winded after that long path. You probably put in about a half a mile there. Or
I need to go and have another coffee now.
Well, it's an extensive setup. Theo's been loving this stuff for, 6 years now. And
Right.
so we've tried a lot of different things, and he's been the role model that if we can make Theo happy, then we know that most other people will be happy. So thanks again, Theo.
Yep.
And
Thank you.
we'll talk to you after a while.
Sounds good. Thank you. Bye.
Bye.